Matt in Jerz. We are back. This was supposed to be the Boots Bay Hill show, but we just got some breaking news about the pairings down in Puerto Rico. And I think we should just spend 45, 50 minutes breaking down Phillips, Blades, and it's Rasmus Neers, right? They got the
Rasmus and Nero Peterson, yeah. Like career wins in that group. We might not be a number. It might be infinity.
Yeah, you can't. It's like every now and then in the odds, you see a guy on Data Golf. You go look at the odds, and you see a guy's infinity. I think it's infinity wins for that trio.
Yeah, I mean, I need to talk to the person who's making the pairings and groupings at the Puerto Rico Open because it's just a generational ball knowledge. Like that is an elite group. Those guys, the winners. Oh, they have to. The winner is coming from that group without a doubt. There's the Puerto Rico preview. That's my picks. That's our picks right there.
that group, those three, that's simple. Easy winner coming from that group. I did get Phillips on the card. My write-up for Phillips was simple. If you're 70-1 and in the dog rankings and it's an opposite field event,
he's 70-1.
Yeah, easy.
That's some stuff.
Easy. But this is, in all seriousness, the Bay Hill Boots report. I'm wearing a jacket. If you're wondering if I'm going to leave in the middle of the pod, I'm not. I'm going to stay. I'll still be here. But right before the pod, I realized it's freezing cold. You look like, did you just rip the gym? Or are you going to a concert? What's going on your side?
Yeah, EOS Fitness. Shout out. Just went to the gym. Haven't showered yet. Had to dial in the models, the boots report. So we're chilling. Just had a nice little workout, but we got a pod first.
Yeah, and I'm tired. Busy day. We got DP's up on the site. It's ready to go. Live is up on the site. It's ready to go. Puerto's basically done. You got to get your Puerto picks in. That'll be up on the site. Extended Wrist is dialing in. Apparently, there's a potential windy conditions in the LPGA event. So he's checking out the weather report. He's getting the tee times. He's figuring out who's playing when.
Wave then we'll get the season at the Blue Bay.
There's rumors of a potential wave split on the LPGA this week. And then, of course, Bay Hill. We've already got the models up. We've already got the course preview up. We've already got the Tuesday Boots report up. So lots going on the site. A busy week, Jerz. Does it get any busier than this? We said 5 events.
Yeah, we got 5 events betting, and there's a chance we can go 5 for 5. I mean, you can't go 5 for 5 unless you hit the first one. So let's do it. Like I'm ready to dive into Bay Hill. Ready to touch on Puerto Rico after. So, and also just notice I got some sunscreen on my face, but I'm paying homage to Joey Buckets. Joey Buckets is a generational sunscreen all over his face, and he does not rub it in. So, like I said, I haven't showered from the golf course today. Still have sunscreen on my face. So, shout out Joey Buckets.
And another legendary sunscreen on the face, but not anywhere near the level of dog of Joey Buckets is Alex Smalley. Smalley's always got the sunscreen.
Sure does. Sure does.
But it's going to be, if we're going to hit 5 for 5, which is extraordinarily unlikely, I would like to hit 1. That's my goal for the week is get 1 into my side of the competition. I don't want to fall too far behind early in the year, but it's going to be the LPGA will finish first, right? It's up to Wrist if we're going to get off to the 5 for 5 start.
You're right. Yeah, the LPGA
will Hong Kong Live be done first?
Or South Africa?
No, South Africa will be Sunday morning. I think it'll either be Live or LPGA to kick us off. But lots of things to check. We always say nothing better than when you can open up the apps and check the scores across a variety of tours, sprinkle a little bit on everything, never outside of your means, never too much on any one tour. But should be a fun week. Should be an awesome week over on the site. $9.99 for the weekly, $34.99 for the monthly. We've got boots this week. I'm headed down to meet you in Jack's Beach. We've got an Airbnb. We're dialed in. I think from an Airbnb location to course perspective, just quality of the Airbnb, this could be all-time boot setup down there for players next week. Yeah. And
haven't dug deep in there yet. That's good stuff.
Valspar lies ahead as well. So we appreciate everybody over on the side. We get some kind words from time to time. We always really appreciate that. And we've said it a million times and we'll say it a million times going forward. We can't do this without your support. And we really appreciate all the feedback that we get, good, bad, and in between. And if you're listening to this just on YouTube or on a podcast network, if you could toss a like and subscribe on there, we really appreciate it. That keeps us going as well. So, lay of the land has been set. Let's dive into it. Let's do the SVP. What was the best thing you saw today? It may not be a player specifically. It may not be a shot. What best thing you saw today?
The best thing I saw without a doubt was a thing I've seen before, but we haven't seen him in a while because of he hasn't been playing, some surgery. That's Ian Finnis, caddy of Tommy Fleetwood. Contextually, always rocks the Nike Dunks while carrying the bag. I don't know how he does it because, I've obviously walked these golf courses too a lot. And the one time I was in California or Arizona and I had to do it in my Vans, flat shoes that are not meant for walking golf courses, this dude does it week in, week out. So props to Ian. He's a pretty in-shape guy, but his back has got to be destroyed. So that was probably the best thing I saw today. So shout out Ian Finnis. I know you're listening. And I hope your back's doing okay.
Well, and there's the shoes, and then he has to deal with caddying for Tommy, which has to be both an enjoyable and frustrating experience at the same time. So lots going on there that he has to deal with. And yeah, I think he was struggling with his health, so it's great to know that he is back out there healthy and looking good. So that's, in all seriousness, really awesome to hear. Let's start with the course conditions. We've said this a million times about boots. Yes, there's plenty of stuff on individual players. That's just one data point to toss into the mix of all the other data points that you're going to consider on a guide for the week. There are strokes gained. Did you check your phone or any of the computers while you're out there? Are the strokes gained in place at Bay Hill?
Yeah, I saw guys putting the wires in place, making sure the TrackMans were up to date. So we can confirm there will be strokes gained this week. There are also strokes gained in the past. You can use it as a reference, not just boots.
Beautiful. And what ultimately sometimes becomes the most beneficial of boots is the course conditions. And that's what I'm extra interested in this week, Jerz, because at the end of the day, from an outright perspective, maybe there's not as many options of guys who could win this tournament. So we really need to understand, of the top contenders, where do the conditions favor them the most or the least? And I think a good example of this would be Torrey Pines, where you went out there and you saw the conditions. You said this looks great for Lude coming back here again. Nailed the winner, snuck it past Mav McNeely. So I'm really interested. What are the conditions looking like? What do we need to be on the lookout from a playing perspective? Is it different than what you thought it was going to be? Is it the same? You've been there before. Just give us the lay of the land on the course conditions this week.
Yeah, also I want to just piggyback off of what you said about the course conditions leading on to ex-golfer. Obviously, we aren't going to pick the winner every single boots, but we've been pretty 100% dialed on course conditions every single boots for the most part. We know how these courses are going to play, and that could lead someone in the Discord onto the winner, lead I or you onto someone who's going to play well. So the course conditions are probably the most important thing because that's just going to let you know how the course is going to play. So with that being said, got onto Bay Hill, immediately noticed a difference in the rough from last week, and two courses that generally are supposed to have penal rough. Obviously, PGA National, I saw right away, wasn't going to have penal rough, and that was the case. This week, that is the polar opposite. The rough, you want to avoid it. Avoid. It's a mess. It's going to also rain tomorrow, going to get even thicker and wetter heading into the rest of the week. And it's just heavy, thick, tough to control into the Bay Hill greens, which is not a hot take. The Bay Hill greens are firm. They're not as firm as I've seen them in the past, but we've had rain this week. We're going to have more rain tomorrow, but they're still very, very, very firm. So I'll leave it at that for now.
Which rough was more penal and which rough was more difficult to hold the greens from, here or Torrey a couple weeks ago?
Great question. This is actually a valid question, as I thought you were going to say Torrey last week. But I do think the Torrey rough was more penal than it was here, but I do think these greens are far more firm. The rain that we had at Torrey that from early on in the week was pretty heavy, and they had a rain earlier that part of the year too. And Torrey notoriously does not have as firm greens as Bay Hill, where Bay Hill is known to be concrete on a yearly basis. So I would say the rough is more penal at Torrey Pines, but holding your ball on the greens is more penal here coming from thick rough. But at the end of the day, both thick rough, you do not want to be in either of them. Fairways are paramount. Fairways are easier to hit here, I would say, than Torrey Pines. They're a little bit wider, I would say, visually, and they're fairly soft from what we usually see at Bay Hill. But we'll see how this rain pans out tomorrow, and if they will get firmer they will get firmer after Wednesday, like heading into Saturday, Sunday. But as of now, I think Friday, Thursday's rounds, you're going to see some, not scores, but you're going to see some of the better scores and guys being able to get out after it because the fairways will be a little bit softer.
You said, I believe, on the previous pod before you got out there, based on just a guess, you were thinking single-digit winning score. Still think that? Change of plans. The weather, just to add in, is you probably already know this, but maybe the listeners don't. Weather this week supposed to be windy Thursday. It was about the same wind on Thursday that you saw today. So when you think in your head about the weather, Thursday is supposed to be about the same as what you saw today. Sunday could be more extreme, and that would be a few days since the rain has come. Things may dry out. So I'm not going to hold you to it. You still need another day at Boots, see how the course is changing. But do you still think single-digit winning score? Do you think it might be a little bit easier?
I'll set it at 11.5. That will be my line. And I have no idea what Vegas's line is. I haven't checked it. If you know, let me know. But I'm going to set it at 11.5.
And do you think that the softer conditions than you've seen here previously, and again, it's going to rain, I think the number I saw was 1/2 inch of rain, which is a reasonable amount of rain that could fall tomorrow. Has the condition difference changed the style of player that you may be after versus what you were thinking coming into the week? And if so, or if not, what is that style of player now that has kind of risen to the top in your head?
Yeah, I don't think it changes at a macro level. I think it kind of just sways in a certain direction. I think the style of player that usually wins at Bay Hill will make sense, but I think the overall type player you're looking for is a guy with heavy driving distance who is going to hit fairways, a good total driver more towards the distance side. You don't have to, I don't want like a positional merchant. You got to be long, but you got to hit fairways as well. And so you don't want to be a full bomber. I don't think you need to be a positional bomber plus. I think you need to be a positional bomber star, positional bomber asterisk.
For the longtime listeners, we've previously had positional bomber, which is a guy who's kind of got a little distance, a little bit of accuracy, or like a lot of accuracy, a little bit of distance. The positional bomber plus is a little more distance and keeping the same level of accuracy. You're saying shift the distance up even higher, drop the accuracy down a little bit, but the accuracy still needs to be above average.
Above average. Yeah. So positional bomber star, positional bomber accurate or asterisk, is what you need to be this week. So be able to launch off the tee, because if you're playing, you need the distance. But if you're playing from the rough, you're just gonna have a really, really tough time controlling your balls into these greens. And if you're playing from the fairway, you could definitely stop them on the greens because they're firm, but they're not like impossible where guys are gonna get absurd lies unless there's some pins that they trick out. And maybe on Saturday or Sunday it's gonna be that it could be that way. But for now, and especially with the rain tomorrow, you're gonna be able to, I wouldn't say attack, but put yourself in position into the greens from the fairway.
Yeah, and I think what was interesting, as I've said many times throughout this year, next week will be different. I'll get to go down there and see with my own eyes as well. But I'm trying to look at the stats. Obviously, I spend a bunch of time on a weekly basis working on a course preview based on the numbers, regardless of whether you're going to Boots or not. Like, we've always have that up on the side. I always spend a lot of time thinking about what this course has looked like historically. And I think that was most jumped out to me based on what you were saying was mud balls in the fairways a couple of times, balls pitching and kind of just staying where they hit in the fairways, which a lot of times at Bay Hill, we see these balls ripping down fairways.
Yep.
Doesn't sound like that's how it's playing. And if there's going to be rain there tomorrow, and even though you're saying get in the fairways, that's going to give you a chance to attack, it also just the lack of roll for the shorter hitters. Bay Hill's a pretty long golf course.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like, to me, it's one of those weeks where it's super deep, rough, lush conditions, and some guy is going to get nuclear with the driver, bombing it down the center, and is going to be coming into these greens with such shorter clubs than some of these more positional, shorter hitters that the distance bias that's always existed here, we talked about it on the Sunday pod, it's my belief that these softer conditions only favor the big hitters even more, even though you're saying stay out of the rough. I'm talking about a guy who hits just enough fairways and takes advantage of that just massive distance advantage.
I 100% agree. And this is a golf course that whenever I'm out here, I've been here the last, I think, 3 years now. And even the longer hitters, this is one of the golf courses where they're the shortest in relation to the front of the fairway. I'm saying like the carry all, like the rough cut and like the walking to the fairway, they barely get to the front of the fairway. For example, Brian Campbell, one of the shortest hitters, probably the shortest hitter in like the history of this event,
Soups.
was Soups was on the tee on hole 11, which is not one of the longer holes. And this man barely made it to the front of the fairway. So on holes like 16, 4, where there's a pretty massive cover gap of the rough cut, the walkway to you get to the fairway, guys are gonna come up short, and it's gonna be like funny, especially if it's into the wind. So even like the big hitters, like they're not getting it that far down on the fairways because this course is so long, and that's just how it is. So yeah, I agree. Especially with the ball not rolling, you got to be able to bomb it.
And there's just so many tees that are just like pushed way
infinite.
back.
Yeah, there's so many tees that are pushed back.
Are we going to, this is an important, I know you said around 11.5 is your estimate currently on the winning score. We want carnage when we come to Bay Hill. At least when I say we, I'm referring to myself. I should be saying I like carnage at Bay Hill.
The majority, I agree. Everyone does for the most part.
Are we still going to get carnage, or is the carnage still out there? How is the carnage going to develop? Where will guys get boned? Is that still going to happen, or too soft? What's the status there?
No, not too soft, not too soft. The greens are still firm. I'm not saying that these are some like even like PGA National. There was greens that they could stop. Par threes, the long par threes with long irons, middle irons. If you hit it in a firm spot in the green, it's gonna bound over. But also, if you hit it in the right spot, it's gonna stop. You don't have to roll everything up. If you hit it high enough, it's gonna stop. These aren't the. If I'm saying 1 to 10 Bay Hill firm greens, I'm saying right now they're at a 7, 6.5 to 7. So we've seen a 10 in years past. We have, but it's not there yet. And can it get to a 10 by Sunday? Maybe 9.5. But these just aren't these are still firm greens, but they're just not Bay Hill concrete like they've been in the past because of the weather.
Yeah, and I think too with the Sunday wind potentially coming in, the last thing we want is the greens getting too hard too fast and them having to cancel play in the difficult conditions. So
I think that will happen. I don't think that will happen, but I still think they'll get firm enough because even at this time last week at Honda, they were a joke, and we saw Honda last week it got fun on Sunday. The greens got firm and they got a little bit baked out. Like they're already visually browner and greener in spots like spotty than they were last week. So I think if all goes well, we have like a similar weather forecast to what we did at Honda last week because we had some like early midweek rain. So honestly, with that being said, it could get pretty dicey on late Saturday, late Sunday.
Well, let's hope because that's what we're looking for at API. But yeah, based on what you're saying, this was the question I was going to ask: is the rough around the greens? You've mentioned it being extra thick. It sounds like it's extra wet. Not what style? Is it the type of around the green thick rough where it doesn't matter if you're good around the greens or not, and any guy just kind of whacks it out and hopes? Or can you still use your skill? I'm thinking about a guy like Hovland, for example, who's had some success around the greens here. What's the around the green situation, and how should we be factoring it into our models this week?
I would say it's a 70-30 blend of thick rough and dicey tight Bermuda. In favor of the thick rough, there's a lot more thick rough than tight Bermuda. So in the thick rough, that is a total guessing game. You can get a great lie, you can get a shit lie, and I really don't think that your skill matters too much there. And then if you're in the tight lie, that's just a matter of managing your misses off of the approach. That will let the wizards with the tight chips shine. But majority, it's thick lies, and I think it's gonna decrease ARG play because there's more thick random lies and easier fluffy flopper shots than normal.
I also think just based on what you're saying, like if guys who are just elite powerful ball strikers are able to hold these greens a little bit better than maybe they have in previous years. Not quite as many balls are just one hop trampolining off the back of the green no matter where you land it. They can have a little bit more of that control. I just think the winner is going to hit so many more greens in regulation than the average in the field that the winner, if you're focused on your winner needing to have great around the green play this week, yes, they're going to have to be okay. But like if you're relying on your around the green too much this week, too much luck is involved. That's just not the type of guy I think I can go after based on what you're saying.
I agree.
So of the bigger hitters, of those guys who fit the description that you just tossed out there, maybe a guy near the top of the board, maybe a guy further down the board, totally up to you. Who jumped out in that category as a guy who looked good out there today?
Good. I mean, I saw a lot of good. I saw a lot of bad. Towards the top of the odds board, middle of the odds board, I saw some good things from Pat. From Pat, he's not the biggest hitter, but he fits that PB, somewhat PB mold. He's long. He's long. And the numbers from Pat recently have been solid. They really have. And I confirmed with my eyes. And I saw some great things from Pat in Hawaii in 2020 to start 2025. And I think the good things are coming along from Pat. He's upbeat. He's confident. And I think he fits that mold of a golfer who gives you those what we're looking for off the tee. So I'll answer that with Pat.
We talked on the Sunday pod that Pat gaining or spiking on approach, and I write this up on the side all the time. I've tried to define it up there. We talk about it a lot on the pod, but sometimes I don't know if we've said it clearly enough. I define a spike approach, spike putting, spike any category as do you gain 4 or more strokes in that event, in that category. So he has gained over 4 strokes on approach and back-to-back starts. We don't see Pat go 3 straight events with a spike approach. That's just not what Pat
Everyone
does.
knows that.
Sometimes the robot is plugged in and it's working. Sometimes the robot gets broken and it needs to go to the shop for repairs and he can't gain on approach that week. This could easily, obviously, go either way, but do you think Pat can deliver 3 straight spike approach performances based on what you saw out there today? Because that would be, for me, definitive on if I could bet him or if I could not.
Yeah, I do. There's no reason that I would say that from what I saw that he couldn't have another nice approach week. He looks styled. Looks like he's playing a lot of golf. Looks like he's playing some confident golf again for the first time in a long time. So, yeah, I do think he could deliver in that department.
Do you think you've had him on the list of guys who may never win again? Do you think he wants to win? Do you think he cares about winning this
Yeah.
event?
Everyone wants to win Bay Hill. These guys care about the majors. These guys care about the big events. Pat can care less about winning like the John Deere. I know. Remember he was in the John Deere field last year and then he withdrew.
And then he withdrew after Xander
like,
won a major because he joined the John Deere field after Xander won a major because he was so distraught. And then once it got closer to the event, he's like, I can't do this.
What am I doing? Yeah. No, he cares about this one. And I'll tell you when guys care or don't care. But I think Pat and I think all the guys care about this one.
We've talked about this before as well. Do you see any strokes gained caddy, any strokes gained preparation differences that maybe speak to that point that guys are taking this event a little bit more seriously than the average event? You see anything on that front?
Yeah, a lot more caddy solo prep out early, out in the middle of the day, caddies by themselves, stuff we see in majors. And obviously I've been out to a ton of events. I don't see that outside of the majors. So I've seen a lot more of that this week. So yeah, I would say that a lot of guys care more. Everyone wants it this week. It's Arnie's place. Everyone wants to do it for him. So I get it. Makes sense.
Let's go to the man at the top of the board, Scottie Scheffler. You described him this week in the write-up as you've seen better from Scottie. You've seen worse from Scottie. Maybe don't tell me whether you think he's going to win or not win this week. But tell me, do you think the course is setting up the way that Scottie wants it? Would you want to see something different to expect him to play better? Just give me the lay of land on Scottie based on what you saw out there today.
Yeah, the more it rains, I think the worse it's going to be for him. I think he prefers firmer, faster conditions. Just make it tough as possible, and that will benefit Scottie, I would say. But yeah, it was Scottie's the best player in the world. But it wasn't anything I haven't seen before. We've seen Scottie at at the players, but like we knew he was like, this guy's obviously winning this event. It was unreal. We've seen Scottie at other events, like this guy's got no chance. So somewhere in the middle of that, I think that he will play fine. He will be around, but I don't think it's a guarantee. I don't think it's a
guarantee. Who was his playing partner today? I think
his playing partner was a guy by the name of Christian Bezadenhout. I don't know if you've ever heard of him because most of us haven't heard of him. But Scottie just doesn't care who he plays with. He's just out there like, yeah, come on, let's go. He's just so focused on doing his thing, like refining his craft, that whoever's around and ready to play, like he'll take him in. So Scottie and Seabass.
I invented that Scottie practice round take the very first boots that I ever did at Brookline because he was playing with a bunch of randoms. I think an amateur and a couple other guys. Like I don't think any of them made the tour. Mere moments after that was the first time I saw Taylor Montgomery, generational striper at the time, now generational putter. But
what was your impression on Taylor Montgomery the first time you saw him hit a ball?
I thought he was Jen Strips because but I was wrong. We never talked about him at in the COG report either last week, but because that was what a moment that was. But you're right. Scottie,
is he popular this week at the Pro?
Probably.
On serious bets. Okay, keep going.
I think it is interesting because we say this a million times too. Boots is great. We cover Boots from a betting perspective. Boots is also just fun because you get to learn some more stuff about the players, and we try to share that information because we've all said this a million times. There's a shit ton of reporters there who just sit in the media center and never walk outside and see anything that happens. That's what a vast majority do. So if we can share some interesting things we learn about the players, that's just cool. And I think the Scottie practice rounds is a funny one. There's a lot of players popular players, big name players who only practice with other big name players or like somebody that they're really good friends with. Scottie will legitimately practice with anyone. He doesn't care. It doesn't matter to him. He's out there to play golf, strokes gained, prep. That's all that matters to him. But what I noticed when you said Bez was that the last time we saw him with like someone deeply, deeply unserious, probably more unserious than Bez, and Bez is way up there on the unserious track, was Chesson Hadley at the Players, and he dominated. So I think that is a positive for Scottie if he's playing with Bez.
Yeah, he just wants to get that first win and he got that first win this time last year. So it does make sense. The stars are aligning. Like Scottie, when Scottie needs something, he'll just play with someone like that. Like, come here, I need you today.
He needs a comparison. He needs to boost his confidence by saying how much better he is than a player like that. Or Chesson Hadley. Yeah. He's like, these guys aren't even in my world. And so he's going to boost his confidence. This week, Rory, I don't think you saw Rory out there. Is that true? No eyes on Rory today?
Yeah, I don't think Rory played a practice round today, but he's off at 7:10 tomorrow morning. So Vincerix.com, Boots Report.
You don't need to see much from Rory to be in, based on what I'm hearing from you this week.
Golf course screams Rory McIlroy. And I bet Rory, I think, one time in Boots. I'm leaning there again. I'm leaning there, but the final decisions will be made.
A guy
that was the U.S. Open, by the way. Bermuda.
He almost won that week. Close, right there. Bermuda, bomber, of course.
34-16 on Thursday.
The tournament was over at that point.
Absolutely.
By the way, did you keep track? Did you
a generational call?
That was sick that we called that. He almost completed the did you see two things actually that just popped up from this? Your boy Dale Witts completed the 3-1-3 challenge. I saw.
Get him on he might need the keys to Detroit. He might need them.
He deserves to be there. The rule should be if you complete the 3-1-3 challenge anywhere on the earth, you get to play in the Rocket Mortgage.
Does Detroit have a mayor yet? Because that should be how they determine who's the Detroit mayor.
Get Dale Witts to the Rocket Mortgage. What was I even going to say? What was the other thing I said before this? I got distracted by
Birdie 4-16. Did you track something?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Did you track who parred or played 6 at COG under par? Because you noted that whoever does that should be live at the majors this year.
No, but I should go back.
Yeah, check that out. See, maybe have Vincent. He could probably run those numbers for you really quick. Just upload the stats, and he'll get the numbers for you. We promised the people. You said Xander's your guy. You basically invented Xander. I mean, I don't think Xander has any majors if you didn't pick him twice last year to win majors. You know Xander, and you promised people that we wouldn't hold the Xander information on the site. We would give it straight on the Boots report on Tuesday night. So here we are. You also saw Xander at TGL. You had Boots at TGL on Monday. Where are things at with Xander? Would you bet him this week? Could he win? Does he have no chance? What do we need to do with the X-Man?
First off, I think he gained a little bit of weight after taking. You noticed that too?
I noticed that too. He doesn't look as fit as he did last year.
Yeah, I think he gained a little bit of weight. I mean, like, dude, you were two-time major champion. Enjoy yourself. Like, no beef.
Yeah, and you're injured. Like, chill. That's all good.
Chill. So that's the first thing. Second thing, first time I've ever seen X play a solo P round. I didn't even mention that in the Roots report, but I must have forgot. Played a solo P round today, which is something he never does. He's usually with one of his buddies, usually not with Patrick Cantlay because he kicked him out last year. But he was prepping hard late in the day, solo, and he looked not like prime X in the Boots. Like Xander is one of the generational practice round players, and I say that with no grains of salt. Generational practice round player, like one of the best, just does not miss any spots. And he missed a little bit. He wasn't his best, and that's fine. He first tournament in a long time, getting his swings, but I wouldn't say he was like off the planet, looked horrible. He's not there yet. I don't recommend him at 16-1. I don't think he was going to play poorly though, but Xander is not there yet.
I think we see one great round out of Xander. Maybe the low round of the day, maybe close to the low round of the day. Probably not the first round, but I think he has one day where he gets it dialed. I will say when I saw him I watched my first bit of TGL last night. I texted you about this. This is 100% true story. Because we're talking the pod, I haven't watched much TGL. Last night, I finally have a few minutes. You're there. I remember it's on. I'm flipping it on. The moment that TGL appears on this screen that is above this desk, they are giving a live interview in the crowd to Keith Mitchell. You couldn't possibly test me more to see if I was going to commit and watch the rest. What are the chances of that?
Yeah, I was shocked. I was sitting next to Keith Stewart, and he was like, "Oh, look, it's Keith Mitchell." I was like, "No way." Keith Mitchell on the screen, and he talked about like growing up on Bermuda. I was like, fuck off, dude.
He literally was like, he was telling Marty that like he loves this time of year and he's going to try to win the Players because he's so good on Bermuda.
Like, okay,
unbelievable Keith. Stuff.
Unbelievable stuff. 28-1.
Get him on the card, it sounds like, at Players. He does have that famous video clip of Players when the horn goes off and he smashes it.
It's in the hype video.
It is in the hype video. Okay. I can't decide what to do because I never bet JT. Can you think of a time where I've ever bet JT?
Honestly, truthfully, no. I really can't.
I legitimately never bet him. I think the last time I bet him was at the Mayakoba event years ago.
That's a long time ago.
I really think that was the last time I bet JT because I just never do because I never think the price is fair. I never think it makes sense. But there is only one guy in this entire field up on the site. I put together some of the keys for the week, some of the trends, some of the things that have identified the winners of this event before. Distance and spike approach play. It ties in exactly to what you're saying we need at this course. Is anybody striping it better under those categories than Justin Thomas? He's hitting it as he's gaining over 8 strokes on approach on a somewhat consistent basis. There's moments in time where very few players go on these whiteout approach weeks. Colin used to do it. He doesn't do it much anymore. Scottie obviously can do it from time to time. Xander every now and then. JT's back with the iron play.
Yeah.
And I'm tempted to single bullet JT this week.
Single bullet at 25?
28-1. Justin Thomas.
What? 28-1 Keith Mitchell. Damn. I mean, yeah, looking at the numbers, the dude is on fire with this is prime JT approach, and He looks the part. The dude looks confident, looks striping. He kicked Aaron Rye out of his group today.
Sick.
Aaron, I didn't know that either. Sorry. But yeah, Aaron Rye was playing with JT, and then Aaron Rye held back on the tee while JT went along and played by himself. See, JT was probably like, dude, let me just go.
Because there's two other things that is good here. Because Rye's one of the nicest guys in the world. And Rye also, I really like Rye, first of all, just purely on vibes. Like, he's such a kind guy. But
yeah, he is.
He's always wandering around by himself looking for somebody to practice with. How many times have we seen Rye try to join a practice group? Like, so many 100%. Times. And they usually let him in. So it's interesting that JT would reject him. I like the focus. And there's a couple
he
other
things. For Max McGreevy because he knew he's a Bermuda man. That's he waited around for. Yeah.
The two other like threads that we've talked about this year on JT that interest me are, I do think we're seeing some of the benefits of the new caddy, Matt Minister, Cantlay's former caddy. We talked about it. JT used to blabber on about the plans for the shot too much. Matt Minister says, shut the fuck up, hit the shot. That's what we want to see. And this is the first time since JT has been gen striping like he is right now that he gets back to Florida, which is effectively a home game for him at this point. So I doubt I'll actually single bullet him. I don't even know if I'm going to bet him yet because it doesn't feel right for me to bet JT. It's just, I'm surprised he's 28-1 and not like.
Yeah, this is the first like fair number on him. Like, he's been in the 16-18 range in these like strong fields too, and like we were both like 100% no. Now it's fair.
So you're okay if I bet JT?
Yeah, 100%.
Who you've been sharp at picking the random Euro of the week this year. This is easily the strongest start to the random Euro of the week. This is a hot streak. There's just no other way to say it. Not as many opportunities this week. Obviously, smaller field, not as many random Euros in the mix. Were there any random Euros that we need to identify for the people?
Yeah, one of my favorite North American Europeans, Corey Connors. Okay. He, everyone knows. He comes from the great place.
Well, Justin Trudeau was over in Europe with all the EU leaders. So Canada right now definitely fits in random Euro of the week territory.
Yeah. So, Corey Connors is my random Euro of the week. And he's a guy who's not been playing some good golf to start the season. He's uber consistent all of his career. And it's not been great. But I do think this could be one of the easiest T10s for Corey in a long time. Just like fairway green 2-putt. That's Corey Connors' thing. Looks better. And I said in Hawaii, this is the least dialed I've seen Corey Connors. Does not look comfortable. He looks a lot better now. But he's so unserious with the putter. It's like funny how bad he is at putting. And his caddy, he's the only other caddy that putts on the green with Corey. And then after like they finished their round, Corey Connors' caddy was on the putting green testing out, like, you know how they have all the putters set up, like with every brand? He was testing out different putters. It's just like so funny because his player is so lost on the greens. I think if Corey Connors' putter got the putt for him, major champion.
If his caddy putted for him?
Oh, yeah.
That
anyone.
No, yeah, I think I putt well enough to win someone a major championship if they're just a generational tee to green player. That's possible.
Corey Connors is that. Remember when Corey Connors was striping like as hard as Scottie last year, tee to green?
He's 90-1 this week.
I mean, there's worse bets to be made.
And I will say, what I was trying to remember what I was going to say was that you did say at the very first boots of the year at Kapalua that Corey Connors was not striping and you were out basically. And then he had the randomest luck box putting performance of his entire life by a long shot. And he was in the mix there for a while, but he hasn't striped this year. So you definitely sent something then. And what you're saying is now you see back to what we saw last year, for example, at a place like Pinehurst when we went to watch. And Corey Connors was literally, it looked like he wasn't even trying. And every single shot was absolute perfection.
Yeah. So we're not quite at that level yet, but we're getting close to that. And that was a great like testament to boot, because that first day I was like, damn, did I really mess this up? Corey Connors is like 8 under through 3, and he's gaining like 11 strokes putting and losing so many strokes ball strike. I'm like, all right, just an outlier putting week. We're good. Corey Connors is not dialed, but good things are coming, I think.
Yeah, and I think what you're sensing is the fact that Corey Connors is always generationally dialed at API. This is arguably one of his best tournaments consistently of the year. I would worry if it was playing a little bit longer. I wouldn't say that, I love that for Corey Cons, but there you go. 90-1 Corey
90-1, yeah.
Random Euro of the week. Speaking of random Euros, Aldi Pots. I was just curious. Did you see Aldi Pots? Did you get a chance to drink? And have you seen Aldi Pots before?
No, this is the first time I think I've seen him in person. I got a video. I'll send from 3 feet away, so I'll send it to you. He was playing with Harmon, just two bombers, just going at it back and forth. It's fun to watch. It's really fun to watch him hit a driver. So I'm glad I got to see that up close. If he driving it straight, he can make some birdies, but the holes that he doesn't, he'll make a bogey or worse.
You didn't get eyes on Viktor Hovland today. Is that correct?
No, and also I don't know if you saw that. I put in the Discord. There's this one Norwegian reporter that reports on Viktor Hovland, and he tweeted, Viktor Hovland has committed to practicing a lot of short game and putting in 2025. And I sent in the Discord, that totally checks out. I never see this guy on the golf course, so that makes so much sense. Glad I got that confirmation. So he's on the tee time sheet tomorrow, so I'm gonna get out and see him. But that makes sense as to why I've seen him so little this season, because he's clearly practicing short game and putting, but he's putting a new putter in the bag. So
yeah,
and old shoes. Back to his old putter.
Yeah, back to his old putter.
But
shoes. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it on Sunday. Like he's not playing golf right now. He is doing like a science experiment and trying to get the outcome of the science experiment to say, yes, you are correct, which I get it. But like, we need to see him out on the golf course. It's a little concerning to me that another day goes by where you don't see him out there. It just keeps piling up throughout the last year, honestly. But it does just, these conditions sound like normal Viktor. We would be running as fast as we could to get our bets in on it.
Yeah, normal Viktor would also be 18-1 here. But so like we're getting really good price on a perfect golf course for the guy. I mean, at Valhalla, he was not in good form and he almost won. I could be convinced.
We also saw him on the course though at Valhalla practicing. So like we did say that he looked bad.
Yeah, hopefully I see him tomorrow, and hopefully I see some good things from him, because I think it makes a ton of sense.
Which guy? Oh, actually, never mind. I was just scrolling through the board, and I need to ask you about somebody specifically. Can CD? Can he win this week? Does CD have the game? We know he has the game to win majors. Does he have the game to win Bay Hill?
It's a mental warfare out here. I wish there was more tight lies for him to hit some dicey chips, but he's so good at golf. Like, he's so damn good. I think he can. Like, we're so high on CD's ceiling, and like he hits it long, hits it straight. I mean, yeah, I think I'm in on CD.
The rest of the Boots report, Jerz. It's up on the site. I don't know how many guys you got today, but it was a ton, and with such a small field, and the Pro-Am tomorrow, I expect a good chunk of the field to be up on the site, along with everything else that we talked about earlier. $9.99 for the weekly, $34.99 for the monthly. The reason I had to stop right there is we need to get to Puerto Rico, because we promised the people on Sunday that we would give Puerto Rico its fair due. However, before that, anything else you need to share with the folks from what you saw out there today, whether it's on the course, off the course? I don't want to, leave anything before we move on that you hope to share with the people today.
Nothing too specific. There wasn't as many funny things that happened last week, but I will say my access is really increasing. So I just got to keep pedal down and keep doing stuff. Like today my thing had like another like little notch on, like every single week there's like places where you can and can't go, and this one said like I had access to like inside the ropes on the putting green range, like inside the ropes on the course. I was like, this is sick. So I got right in there. As soon as I got inside the ropes, Minwoo walked right by me. He was like, "What's up, bro?" Because I was talking to him last night at TGL. Remembered me. So that was sick, but no funny stories. I hope maybe tomorrow we'll have some more funny stories.
Well, that is excellent to hear. And I've said this to you a million times. And for the people who don't know, just the listeners, Jerz, king networker, excellent networker, amazing skill to have. It's great to hear that is paying off as you continue to grind the boots. And the great part is that's awesome for the subs, for the people who listen to the pod, because the more intel, the more stories, the more good times that we have, the better. And I'm excited to get down there with you next week.
Yeah.
And see it in the flesh, because I've been waiting all year. It just hasn't worked out to get down there and get boots with you in this new world where we've got some friends of the program. That sounds super awesome.
Let's do it.
Puerto Rico. Big event.
Huge event. The pro.
Some of the would you, given the opportunity, if Puerto Rico, if the tour had called us up and said, guys, we need you to go down to Puerto Rico this week. We need you to do Boots Puerto Rico instead of Boots Bay Hill. Would you have signed up for that?
Not even a question. I'm sure you would have too.
Easy. And we've had all sorts of winners in Puerto Rico, Jerz. We've had guys like
so good
because it's true. Bombers have won here. Guys who just suck at golf, but they just hit it as far as they can. They've won. Guys who are literally like the most accurate players in the field and also terrible at golf. They've won. Martin Trainer has won this event, but also young studs have won, like Victor Hovland. Tony Finau won here early in his career, but also some of the least serious golfers anywhere on the planet of the earth. Hadley has won here. As I said, Trainer. But then generational stripers like Nico Etch have won here. What is your Puerto Rico betting strategy?
When was the last time a non-first winner has won here? That was the only question I had, and I didn't get too much time to look into that.
Like, where was somebody's second PGA Tour win?
Yeah, has it only been first-time winners, or has it always been has it been also non-first-time winners?
It's a good question. Honestly, it leans that way, but I couldn't promise you that.
Yeah, because I was thinking about betting a card of first-time winners. Not that it'd be there's a lot of guys that would be first-time winners, and there's a few other winners.
Yeah, you got a lot.
But yeah, so I do think I'm gonna go that route. I want to look into it a little bit more, but yeah, Puerto Rico total vibes in these alternate events. I used to get really into the weeds, but if you're a ball knower, trust your own gut and just do your thing. Like you and everyone listening, because you guys know it. If you're listening this far, you're a ball knower. And just trust your gut. Go with your gut on the Puerto Rico card. Bet your guys. This is a true bet your guys week.
Yeah. And Carl Billups is 70-1, which is a guy that I'm betting this week. I'm also I'll give another guy that I'm high on this week that I'm surprised wasn't on the chart. Let me actually confirm that he wasn't on. By the way, have you seen the chart? Do you want to know the chart?
I have not seen the chart. No, I don't want to know.
Okay. But you're still going to consult the chart prior to your selections this week.
Oh, yeah. At the pro and at the API.
Did you ever have any regrets when Russ was in the mix?
No, but I want to touch on that because I was pissed at Lee because I was betting Russ like 28, 26 to 1. I think I had on one book, and I was definitely betting Russ. And then Lee gets added, and then pseudo Russ gets put on the chart. So was he really on the chart? Was he not? So I guess he was, and he fucking made bogey on 11-12 because he was on the chart. So I wasn't pissed because I was sticking to my guns, but I was definitely going to bet Russ. I mean, rated him number 1 in the power rankings for a reason. So that's a Vic, but it's what it is.
Yeah. And I think you'll want to consult the chart before you move forward with any of your selections this week. Based on what you're telling me, and based on, again, you said you had Russ last week, number 1 in the boots rankings. You have a guy this week who is number 1 in the boots rankings as well.
I know who that is. He's on the chart?
Pat's number 2 on the chart.
What?
Yeah.
Are you shocked about that?
I'm actually shocked.
It's probably because he's 30.
Yeah, I'm shocked by both him and another guy who's on the chart, who I've spoken highly of already on this podcast. And
JT?
Yeah, JT's second or third on the chart. Now, all the chart pies are the exact same size this week, so I don't know if they're all exactly equal or not. But now they're already talking about it. Wendy's first on the chart. Did you see Windy out there today?
No, I didn't see Windy, but I said to Joe and Keith last night, I'm gonna bet Windy's first. That was obvious though.
Should
Makes so much.
I'm gonna keep the timestamp on this part of the video as Puerto Rico, because I said the Boots report is over. The skip ahead people for sure turned off the podcast like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Let's talk more Boots report, talk more API to reward the ball nerds, because that's where we're back to talking API here. So it wasn't intended, but I think it's a funny result. Yeah, and then it's Pat and JT are next, and they're 28 and 30 to 1, which is like, those are very fair prices versus what they normally are. But why aren't the books lowering the prices on those two when they're as popular as this is saying? They're drifting in the odds. That's concerning stuff to me.
No, because they're not really popular on like the grand scheme of things. It's just popular in our little community. Our community is way smaller than we actually think. If you look at the bet slips of like wherever they track it, they're definitely not probably in the top 3 of who's being bet. It's probably like Rory, Scottie, and then like someone else in the 20s. But
I agree.
The chart is the gospel.
I agree with that. And we track the odds movement from like the main books up on the site, which to me is a better way of seeing like where is the money flowing in the market. But what I'm saying is a lot of times the guys who are most tipped high on the chart also see their odds move positively.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying it's weird to me that that's not happening. And does that just mean that the books know, for example, Scottie or Rory is going to win? Should we be betting the without market? These are just ideas that are percolating in my head based on what we're seeing from the chart. You didn't see any. Oh, you actually saw one other chart guy, and you had a funny write-up about him, Shane Lowry.
Oh, dude, he's got no C. I put him in no C category.
He's tired.
Go to the site if you want the write-up on Shane.
He's tired
because he's got no chance.
That was a good write-up. All right, so we're talking about Puerto Rico, and I came over here to say that Mike Thor isn't on the chart at 40 to 1.
Let's go.
And Mike Thor 40 to 1 at Puerto I'm surprised he wasn't the whole chart. Doesn't that seem like opportunity would hammer? Mike Thor is legit at golf. And this, again, I don't know what the keys to the course are, but I know that Mike Thor can play good at this.
Dude, he's a generational birdie maker. Like, I'm like, he's a guy that I bet all the time. Just like bet your guys, like bet Thor. Is it true that Nicholas Norgard's the favorite?
That is
I'm at the Hilton SeaWorld right now, and it's blocking DraftKings on all the books on my computer. So I have to go to like a VPN or like plug it to my phone. So I couldn't look. I was about to pull up the pro odds before, and on my phone I remember seeing it earlier that Nick Norgard was the favorite. So that's crazy. That's hilarious. I mean, it makes kind of sense, but like it's Nick Norgard favorite.
I almost bet
he's not even a DP favorite.
No, I mean he can't. If he comes over to the PGA Tour, well, maybe I don't know. He could win.
Where's Rosner in the odds?
Well, this is what I was going to say. Was I almost bet Montecero solely because he could easily be a favorite of a DP World event, DP World Tour event, but Rosner fits the same description. Roz is 45 to 1.
That number is great.
Is 60 to 1 on
Mateo. Okay, Mateo on the chart last week made no sense. Like, why was he like a popular pick?
On the chart last week?
Mateo was on the chart at the Honda Classic, like out of nowhere. I was like, "What?
Who was on the?" I literally have to look this up because I need my eyes to confirm what you're saying.
It was Berger.
The problem is going back on the first of all, shout out to Tips Checker.
Shout out!
Here we go.
Great guy. Andy, I know you're listening. We appreciate your work more than anyone.
Oh yeah, you literally would be incapable of betting without the chart. If you were an AI and you went to do your job for the week and the data didn't flow in from the chart, you would malfunction and you would never get your picks in. And I'd be waiting. I'd be like, "Where's Jerz submission for the week?" And it would just never be coming because
there's been weeks where like something's happened, the chart was late, and like Adam's like, where are your picks?" I'm like, the chart is not out yet. I cannot do them. Like, what do you want me to do?
I don't know how I remembered this based on what we were saying. I think it's just because we're so off topic now that I was thinking about other off topic things that have happened today. and connected to Puerto. Vincent tried to pick Rafa Campos like 4 straight times, and I was like, he's not in the field. Like, I gave you who's in the field. You have all the information that you need. He was like, no, Rafa Campos is from Puerto Rico, and he's winning the Puerto Rico Open. And it was great to see how I think it happened because I've been telling Vincent about South Africa for the DP. I'm like, you've got to bet guys based on the home game. Now he's just all in on home game.
We're gonna see some funny home game narratives coming from Vincent. I could feel it.
But you were right. Monacero was on the chart with BSB Novak was on the chart. Can BSB
That's mix? Right. Dude, yeah. I mean, I think he's gonna play well. He's so well rounded, and he's like, dude, he was playing with Colin today, just smoking it by him, and like talking to Colin like they're best boys forever. Like he knows he could be better than Colin, 2-time major champion. So BSB Novak's the man.
I like BSB this week. What is he in DraftKings?
Like 170, 150. He's priced with some like crazy. Oh, and DraftKings price.
But in DraftKings, I mean, who knows if this will be right? He's 6,300 in DraftKings with 3% projected ownership.
With Dunlap.
And he's been like mega popular so many times this year, and he ejected tough in the Palm Beaches. He did not play well at all. But this course, what'd you say on Sunday? You wanted to see a lot of green on the profile. You wanted to see a Xander green profile. BSB's not great at any individual thing. He's just kind of good at everything.
Yeah, we've been saying that for a while. So I was thinking this on my walk back into SeaWorld Hilton. Like I could see a breakout like BSB, like where I get the great boots report, great early season, like probably similar to Kurt before he won. BSB could be on the sea.
How does his stats with the driver are so inconsistent? What can he drive? Is that what's the deal with his drive?
Today he hit one on hole 15, dogleg right par 4, nuked it over the bunker on the right, and it was in the fairway, but he was like, that was off the heel, got a little quick. Worried that could happen too often, and he just could hit swirly shots. And it was a tough win too, but when he hits it, he hits it for sure. And that was a fairway a lot of guys were missing. So when he's on, like we've seen him mix in big dick events. Like he has no fears.
Yeah, well, he's only there so that he can play more fantasy football. So he's not worried about the fact that it's a big event or it's not a big event. It doesn't matter to him. So
imagine the buy-in, like if he wins a signature event, like the leagues he's going to join. Like,
do you think he would continue to play golf, or would he quit and become like a high stakes DFS fantasy football player?
That's a really good question, because I mean he wins X amount of money this week. Why even keep playing golf? You can, because your real skill set is in fantasy football and DFS football.
Yeah, if you win,
the dude is sharp. The dude is sharp.
It's like 3.6 million this week. He lives in Florida, right? So
no, he lives in Sea Island or one of those places.
Okay, but yeah, that's something to monitor as well. And I'm down for some BSB this week on a purely green perspective. Anyone else in Puerto Rico that you're going to get on the card?
Hayden Springer.
Playing the hits.
Hayden Springer, generational flusher, Ben Coles, maybe. I haven't got there too far yet, but I ran my model, and then I'm going to finish the card tonight. Santiago de la Fuente. I saw that Bud Call is like 25-1.
Yeah, he is.
So funny.
The odds, it was exactly what we said on Sunday. Like every guy in the field is like 20 to 60-1. It's I'm excited. When you have the weeks where you can toggle back and forth on the tour apps between the leaderboards.
Beautiful. They should do that with the Corn Ferry. They should let you do that with the Corn Ferry, because you just get more views.
I will happily bet the Corn Ferry.
Riss is running a test run on it, so he might dial us in for next year.
Yeah, that's sick. And to your point, the reason I brought this up is if they made it easier to track the Corn Ferry, it was in the mobile app. it would be so the tour.
No, it is.
But like it's janky. Like the scores are always wrong. Like
Yeah,
it's
but
not
they're getting better, and they have strokes gained now, and they have shot tracker,
okay.
so it's getting better.
Yeah, if they need to go
Well,
accelerate that.
they have to, like, they're making it better because when they're gonna get guys like Sam Burns, Max Homa on the tour, like they're gonna like they need it to be dialed.
Right, Lulu's gonna be in the ear of the tour. Like we can't be sponsoring Max. He's down here and people can't track
Yeah,
Max. What would if Max
he's got
teed it up?
like he had like 8 fans today wearing like homosexual shirts on a Tuesday practice round. Like he's gonna have fans when he's playing like the Albertson Boise Open. He's going to have fans.
What odds would Max be? What is the event this week on the Corn Ferry? It is the Ostara Chile Classic.
Oh,
so he would easily
45.
Would he, do you think he belongs in the Ostara Chile Classic or down in Puerto Rico? Where would he have a better chance to win?
I mean, he'd have a better chance to win in the corner, but he should be in the Puerto field. He's on the verge of like losing his card because he's not going to get like. There's shout out Keith again. He told me how many like there's not that many cards available because the guys that have won, the guys that are like get their card like no matter what because they're points and whatever, like the big guys. Because it got up to I believe 100 cards now. There's not that many available, and Max is not in that. He's not in there. I mean, he has exemptions for the wins. But like he's not gonna be in the top 100.
Doesn't he? Or how long? Because he won Tory, and he
2 years ago.
Like how long does that last?
It's 3 years, I believe. It's 3 years.
Somebody in the comments a few pods ago when we were mentioning Max of the Corn Ferry, said that they thought he had exemptions for a while. So, but that person's comment was that just means he's going to be really, really bad on the PGA Tour for a long time because they were also committed to him going down to the KFT. Have you mended ties with him at TGL yet, or is he's he
well, like no, he does not like me because he was like the one guy I introduced myself to, and did I tell you that I apologized for my tweet?
Yes, but I don't think the listeners have heard this.
So in the what airport was that? San Diego Airport. I met Max Homa and I introduced myself, and I wanted to like. I literally wanted to say because I didn't know when I was going to see him. I didn't know if he would know who I am, like out there so much, remembering something. Because it was a big moment in Max's career and Max's life. Back on Twitter for like the first time.
Yeah, he literally like he had an addiction, got rid of the addiction, and then picked it back up specifically to target you individually. You altered his life.
So I saw him and I was like, he was clear. He's playing horrible golf right now. He has his hood up. He doesn't want to be talked to. I'm like, hey Max, like just wanted to introduce myself. I told him what I did. I told him my name, and I was like, also I gotta apologize for a tweet. And he probably gets that like more often than anyone else because people tweet shit at him. He was like, oh, what tweet? And I was like, oh, at Castle Pines, I called you unserious, and he was like, oh yeah, that tweet. And he was like looked at me, and I was like, I was like tripping. I was like nervous. I was like, oh, it could happen.
Yeah, because that never happens. Like every other time you've ever talked to a guy, they're usually just like chill. They're like, hey man, what's up?
Yeah, and then I was like I diverted the conversation to like TGL and like local tracks to play, and he wasn't really vibing. And like he knows what I look like. He sees me at TGL. He sees me on the course. Like when no one's out there, hasn't given me like any nod. But because guys, like I'll tell you when guys do. But Max is like he doesn't like me. Does not like me. But I'm sorry.
So I mean this is exciting news for us for you to have personal beef with Max, who's been my guy for ages.
I hit him twice too.
I also predicted the end of his career about a year ago. Because I love him so much. I was tracking his game so closely. I became so worried. Our storyline with Max is great. So it's exciting to know that he did not really forgive you for the unserious tweet. When, to be fair, he took 20 minutes to hit a shot, has been claiming he's hitting it better than he ever has before, while simultaneously losing 8 strokes on approach at Tory. It's exciting stuff. We want him to play good.
Yeah,
I want Max to play good. Yeah, I'm frustrated. But it comes from fear. I'm worried.
He looked better today. Like I mean, API got good course history, but Corn Ferry.
I'll he's striped here historically. It's because he used to be generational long irons.
Yeah, he used to be so good with long irons. I'm gonna get eyes on him tomorrow again. I saw good things today though, but he's one of the guys that had to go Orlando morning, Palm Beach, Orlando. Like I don't know how we've never seen that before. Him, Billy, Tom Kim, and Nick
They're
Dunn
playing
have to
tonight?
do that. They're playing right now. That's a
I
far
didn't.
drive.
How long is the drive?
2.5 hours.
Because I asked you, we'll finish here.
I got pulled over last night on the drive up.
Really? You're good?
Yeah.
Everything's good?
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah, I was going a little bit over the speed limit. It was so late, and the guy was like, probably my age. He was like, "Yeah, we had like a few casualties this week on this road.
Damn.
Just chill." I was like, "All right, thanks for letting me off. No beef."
Fair.
So we're
That's nice. That's well, it's not nice
super
you got pulled
nice.
over. It's nice that everything went okay. But the last time, I believe, tell me if this is wrong, was there TGL? Who played in TGL the week of the Genesis? Because we noted the week of Pebble that Rory and TK fucked at TGL, flew to Pebble, and then were basically 1-2 in the mix down the stretch. I don't know. I don't remember what happened before Genesis, but do we need to be on the lookout for that here?
Not many guys played before the Genesis because it was a West Coast event, but I believe they had TGL that week. And I was thinking last night because I was gonna ask Rory in the media center, like, do you think you're gonna go back to back TGL win? But he had another event in there that he didn't win, which it might have been the Genesis honestly because it was on a Monday.
Probably was Genesis then.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it could happen now. We the theory got debunked on week 1, so. But this is a different one, so I guess we'll see.
Who, being there in person, who flushes the hardest in the
Justin
TGL?
Thomas. Justin Thomas.
In the TGL, he straps it harder than anyone.
Yeah, and Wyndham. Wyndham is fucking good at TGL. Wyndham and JT.
JT single bullet. We'll see. We'll see this week, Jerz, if I go JT single bullet. Because if it hits, I will launch ahead in the standings by almost potentially.
Oh, yeah, because that'd be a 28x card.
Yeah. So if that hits, I don't know. We'll see. If it doesn't, it'll just be another losing week for me. But from a tactical standpoint,
Like, there's a true maestro, yeah.
Yeah, true. I'll ask Vincent what he thinks of the strategy. I'm gonna run it by Vincent, see what he thinks, and we'll go from there. That'll all be up on the site tomorrow. Jerz, appreciate all the hard work. We appreciate everybody who listened to the end, who subscribes to the site, who supports us in any way, shape, or form. We can't do it without you. Cheers to you all. Cheers to you, Jerz, and good luck this week.
Good luck this week.